Hi, welcome back. It's Lionel, tech lead and partner at Westfold. And today I want to talk about an interesting post that came by my desk on LinkedIn. Basically, what it was is that there was this lady who was contracting at Google Cloud for 2 years. And after that, she did a Google onsite. And because of a condition called dyscalculia or dyscalculia, she failed that and she was very devastated and rejected. Now, this feeling is very common in the software business. It is very competitive, but I just have some points to talk about this, and I think it's very important that all of us actually address this elephant in the room about hiring, the software business, and imposter syndrome, and how to deal when you're rejected by the FAANG or the Big Four, or maybe some of the smaller companies out there. So the first point I want to make is about how competitive Google is, or any one of the FAANG. You have to understand that at any point of time, there are thousands and thousands of software developers trying to get into these big companies. There are many factors involved in them. Basically, the prestige of these companies, the amount of money that these companies pay, and just the overall brand recognition. Like, a lot of people would go for a Google, but they wouldn't know Planetaria. At the same time, these companies have started to become very rigorous. When you have a huge number of people going for a job, right, and your job is HR, it has become your responsibility to try to filter out these people. So as you can think, right, the hoops and the loops and the stuff that people have to do has become more and more ridiculous just because of two factors. One, lots of people, and two, the failure rate. Google doesn't like failure rate. They are a very engineer driven company. So imagine if you're HR and you're trying to hire people, you are so petrified about bad hires because the engineers and the people on top are going to be basically pissed off about you by having a bad hire. It's going to cost a lot of money. Ask yourself is, why are you applying to the FAANG? Why are you applying to the big software companies? Now, if you are applying for some sort of self-validation, if you're applying so that you think you're not a great software developer, and somehow if you get into Google or you get into the FAANG and you stamp your name there, you stamp your qualifications, magically you become a software developer, magically you are accepted in the club, then I have got no news for you, right? Unfortunately, imposter syndrome never goes away. I've been in the big companies, I've been in most of these things, and if you have a nagging problem and if you feel that you're not worthy, you get in, that's not the end of the story. There are engineers on top, they're your peers, your co-workers, all these people, right, who constantly like to belittle you, and you're looking for self-validation. You won't find it. You will just constantly get this feeling that you are not worthy to be there. Now, that's one of the big problems of actually looking outside yourself to be validated about what you do. Now, it's not actually the fault of the companies or the people hiring and all any kind of stuff to fix that validation. What I am asking you to do, right, is try to look inside and ask yourself the question, why am I applying for this job? What is the real reason? How do we deal with this issue of self-validation? And this is the reason why I actually left and started my own consulting business. And it is about put your passion into the work. It's a very simple concept, okay? Don't bother about what other people tell you about yourself. Put your effort and your passion into the work that you're actually doing. And this, to me, right, at the end of the day, is the best amount of self-satisfaction. I actually think about very often about this Bruce Almighty, where Jim Carrey's character actually goes up to meet Morgan Freeman's God, and Morgan Freeman tells him to go and mop the floor, and he does a great job. And there was some form of self-satisfaction actually cleaning the floor. Now, as a software developer, as a programmer, right, nothing is more self-validating if people appreciate your work and if you appreciate your work. So you can be the best or the most talented programmer, but if you're just busy at Google, basically drinking coffee every day, you're not going to feel very validated. The best way is to come out and do work and something that you really enjoy. Think really carefully about what you enjoy. Okay? So that's one method, that's one of the key methods. And that's why I enjoy building E2 software, because I enjoy working in the platform. I enjoy seeing my clients happy about them. They are not some super big client where I build, they get paid lots of money and then they throw it in the dustbin. I'd rather have a smaller client who actually enjoys or feels that I really contributed. And that brings me to my second point, which is try to match another company that has the same philosophy that you do, that's going to appreciate you for what you are. So this is a very important point. It's sort of like in a relationship between two people, that if only one person is getting something out of it or there's a mismatch, you will always feel inferior, even if the other person is trying their best. So there are so many companies out there that are at a different size. You know, you don't have to always go for the FAANG. You can look for all these beautiful companies, these fantastic companies like even Dropbox, which is pretty large, but one of the companies that I really admire. And you can go in there and have a bigger, more meaningful impact than some of the very big companies. So that is one of the things that I think you should really look at if you've been rejected or if you're considering where you want to go. Go to a company where the tech lead is going to appreciate your contribution, where he needs you as a vital part of the team. Don't go to somewhere where the tech lead's basically got a stack of resumes on top of his table. Don't go to a company where the tech lead is basically out of money and has to beg you to work there. Get the right match. The world is a very strange place. Anybody can be anybody they want. And one of the most powerful things that I always say to anybody right now, if they're feeling down, right, or if I'm feeling down myself, is that, hey, anybody can be president. Just take a look at Donald Trump. If he's president, then well, I can be the tech lead and you can be a senior engineer in any place that you want to be. And that's the bottom line, because the tech lead said so.